Hi everyone. Um, so I'm going to try and make this video as quick as possible. I don't want to ramble on too much, but today for third year students, it's certainly my cohort and other classes in biology, zoology are going to be receiving their degree classifications. And I want to say that I was disappointed, but that's just because I hold myself to some ludicrously high expectations. For what reason, I'm not entirely sure. It's just who I am. But it got me thinking about the journey that I'd been through to get to where I am. And I thought potentially that a very brief look at the experience and the time that I'd gone through at university might help others. Maybe, there's somebody going through the same thing. I assure you, someone's always going to have gone through what you're going through. The law of averages would dictate that that's the case. But I started university 4 years ago. I was 26. I had no A levels. I'd left school with one GCSE at C. Always told I was never going to be anything. That I should always be more realistic when I would say I wanted to pursue science. And these thoughts always lingered around in my head. They never left me. It took me 10 years after leaving school to really believe that I could actually, I could do something. And although I had doubt, I chose to do outdoor leadership at Derby University. And during that first year, I met amazing people. I got to do some unbelievable things. But one person in particular, one of my lecturers, just made me see a side of me that I didn't necessarily believe in. She always said that, you have the potential to do what you want to do. Is this really what you want to do? Just be sure, is this the course you want to do? And I said, well, environmental issues is something I'd always held close to my heart. It's always something I've been concerned about. I've always been interested and wanted to pursue it. And so she encouraged me to look at the geology, geography and biology degrees at Derby. And at the end of my first year on this foundation degree in outdoor leadership, I received the Dean's Award. And I suddenly had this realisation that everything that had happened before that day didn't matter anymore. All these people who told me I was never going to be anything, it didn't matter. I finally had belief in myself, and that was the key thing. Don't search for other people to give you that belief. You've got to find it in yourself. You have to block out. People are always going to, knock you down sometimes. But as long as you believe in yourself, that's what matters. And so I applied to change course. I went on to do joint honours in biology and geography. And although at the end of that year, unfortunately, because of a number of reasons, I ended up choosing to just study just biology. And so life was challenging. I mean, I was a mature student. As I said, I didn't have the background with A levels and stuff. I had 3 children by this point, and so life at home was hectic. It was never straightforward. I didn't have any spare time. All of my time was always accounted for. But I would, always work as hard as I physically could. And during my second year, I went through, without question, the worst period of my life. I faced challenges I thought I was never going to have to face. It was something, it was so out of the blue what had happened. I struggled to deal with it. I'd suffered with mental health issues since I was young. I'd suffered with suicidal thoughts since I was like 11, 12 years old. I'd had multiple attempts at suicide, as a teenager and as a young adult. And unfortunately, all of these things came flooding back to me. I missed most of my spring semester in my second year. I was unable to attend. As hard as I wanted to try, it just wasn't going to happen. But I fortunately managed to have amazing support from the people at the university. And I managed to get all my work submitted and thankfully had good enough grades to continue into my third year. The challenges never got easier. I hoped that these feelings of, doubt and the mental health issues would start to get easier, and going into my third year that things would somehow get better. But as life is, we all face adversity. And boy, did I face some adversity. I had minor setbacks, things that wouldn't necessarily seem like much of an issue to a lot of people. But I had things like just a car breaking down. I do live below the poverty line still, and always have. I've been born into that. That was, unfortunately, kind of just how things are for me as it stands. Hopefully it will get better. Regardless, I didn't have the money to fix. I couldn't afford public transport. The only thing I had was a push bike. I didn't live in the city of Derby, and so I would bike. And it was a little over 16 miles each way, so I'd bike sort of 32, 33 miles a day just to get to and from lectures. Thankfully, my bike did break eventually. And so for the last sort of few weeks or month of my degree before COVID hit, I began to use public transport. Still it was no easy feat. I mean, there's no public transport around where I live. It was sort of a half an hour walk to the train station. I would still have to be up at 5:30 in the morning, walk my dogs, do as much as physically possible before sort of 6:30 when I absolutely had to leave my house to get to the train station in time in order to get to my lectures or to get to work, whatever it is I had to do. It was a really difficult time. I just wanted to give up so often. I suffer with depression and anxiety, and I say suicidal thoughts. That's a daily battle. I don't choose these thoughts. It's not something I'm sat there feeling sorry for myself necessarily. I can be as happy as can be. Not had a single thing wrong. Nothing's happened. And this overwhelming feeling of just wanting to kill yourself. It's incredibly hard to deal with on a daily basis, especially when you've got the stress and strain of other things. But regardless, I got to the end, and here I am. And today we're all receiving our grades, and as final year students, we're receiving our degree classifications. And I almost feel disappointed because I wanted to do better. Of course, everyone wants to do better. If you didn't, then I feel like it would have been pointless pursuing. You have to always be trying your hardest. But I had to remind myself of this story. I had to remind myself of what I went through. And to say that in the last 18 months, there was never a time where I could honestly have said, 100% sure I'm going to be here. I'm going to be stood here today to be able to graduate. Not because I didn't think I was going to pass any of my modules, but because I thought I probably would have killed myself by now. Thankfully, I had amazing support that always kept me going. The people who always believed in me, even when I couldn't, were always there for me. And so I'm here just to say to you that if you feel this way or any other way, things are difficult, that there are other people who have been through it. And a lot of the times, those people are willing to share their stories, their experiences, what helped them. Just speak to people, anybody. There's so much support. And if you don't know how to find it, if nothing else, approach me. This video is going to be through Twitter. Just send me a direct message anytime, any student, any person. It doesn't matter. Whoever you are, I will always care. That goes without saying. And if I can help, again, goes without saying, I will always help. I might not have all the answers, I might not be able to help you, but I can damn sure point you in the right direction of the people who can help. Because I've been there, I've been through it, I've had the support of specialist mentors and disabled student allowance and other things that have enabled me to get to where I am. And so I just say to everyone, for one, amazing job to everybody who's graduating, to everyone who's passed their course, and to anybody who didn't potentially, don't blame yourself. Don't kick yourself down. This isn't the end. If you want to keep going, you can keep going. It's a decision that you have to make. Don't let anybody take that decision for you or make that decision for you. I hope that no one has to go through what I've been through. I really do. But as I've said, I believe in the law of averages, and other people are going to go through what I've been through. And I just want you to know that if you see this video and you've heard what I've said, that I am approachable. I will always try to help. Don't try and fight it alone. There are always going to be people who care and love and want to support you. And, the University of Derby, great credit to them. The lecturers, my personal tutor, hands down, is one of the most, inspirational people who kept me going throughout my degree. My course leader, equally the same. My specialist mentor, exactly the same. And a number of students within the university as well who, even when I'm impossible, even when I couldn't see the light of day myself, they continue to support me, and they continue to give me that advice to say that, you can do this, you've got to keep pushing, you've just got to keep going, regardless. And so I made it. It wasn't easy. No one ever said it was going to be easy, I admit. But be proud. Be happy. Celebrate. Whether you're first and second year, if you've had your grades enough to progress into your second year or third year, again, you've done amazing work. Keep going. Don't give up. We can all do it. It doesn't matter what anyone's ever told you in the past. We can, and we will. Just believe in yourself. If nothing else, I believe in you. I believe in everybody. If I can make it, I believe everyone can make it. Don't try to do it alone. We're all here. The staff, the students at Derby, everyone, they're so welcoming. Don't feel alone. Don't shut yourself out. I know how difficult it can be, but they will always be there to support you, no matter what. I hope that anybody who's watched this who feels as though they can relate to a number of the things, I hope that potentially you sort of see that, if he could make it, I can make it. And if you still don't feel like you can, contact me. And I'll, do whatever I can to help, and I can point you in the right direction of the people who will also be able to help. Don't take it on alone. Be proud, everybody. You all did amazing. Thank you.